And I will get this started. So welcome to those who are watching from home. Today we are doing our How to Build Your MVP software session with Madan Murthy from Net Constructs. Madan is one of our Armidale founders, as I've mentioned, and we are thrilled to have him joining us today. So I will now stop my share and hand over to Madan to tell a bit about his story. I will make him the spotlight for the video. And now, Madan, you are more than welcome to now share your page. Thank you so much for joining us.
Cool. Thanks for putting me on the spotlight. I feel like I'm a celebrity.
Yeah, you are.
Great. Thanks, Timothy. Thanks for the introduction. And also thanks for this opportunity for me to present how to build an MVP. So for those who all don't know, I'm Madan Murthy. That's my long last name. I run a software development business called Net Constructs, which I started about 8 years ago, primarily working with small to medium businesses and building websites, and that's where I started Net Constructs, and then eventually went on building custom enterprise business apps for a lot of medium businesses that were just purely working on spreadsheet and wanted to go and automate it online. So that's where I started building web app. My background is that I did a bachelor's in engineering, and then I completed my master's in information technology from University of Adelaide, and moved to Sydney a few years back. Since then on, I've been doing a lot of web development and software development work. So we do have an offshore development team of 25 software developers, varied in different expertise, working with a lot of, we've done a lot of, we actually worked with probably around like half a dozen of startups, right from building MVP to an end-to-end commercial product. And not finishing there, myself as a founder right now, currently involved in building a beta product where we're developing a project management tool for software planners, which is basically a B2B product and a subscription-based product. And I'm here to share my experience on what I have come across in building an MVP. And as a software development firm, what are the things that we do when we build MVP for other clients? Just to share some quick tips. If you are new and if you don't know where to start, might be this presentation will give something for you to kickstart some bit of a tools and some sort of a bit of a toolkit way to start with. How do you want to get things ready to start building your MVP? So I will be sharing my screen, just the presentation screen. So
thank you, Madan. I'm just going to switch off my screen so it'll just it stay on you.
Yep. So hope everyone can see the screen. Yep. Great.
Yes, that's all good to go. Thanks, Madan.
Good. Great. Okay. So so basically how to build an MVP. So this is something that we always when we talk to a lot of entrepreneurs or people that have had a startup idea, they have an idea, brilliant idea, but they don't know where to start. They don't know where to take the first step on building an MVP. And some do hear this jargon from other incubator spaces or from other online learnings they've done, but not sure where to start. So what are things that you need, or what are the things that you need to start building an MVP? If you're already in an ideation stage where you would have actually, based on what you would have had in a session with Dimitri who ran about Lean Canvas, so you already done some bit of a research, work on finding the pain points, talking and doing a lot of discovery sessions with your target users. Now you have come up with the solution. Now, yes, I need to build an actionable items, or I need to build a solution. Where do I start? So basically, just to give you an heads up, what is an MVP? Some say MVP and some say MVE, but I call it as an MVE because if you already done a discovery session, and you know, and you have spoken to some of your target audience and find out what are the pain point solution. Now you want to test it and you want to experiment it. So an MVP can also be an MVE. You can either call it in two different ways. So basically an MVP is basically a first version of a product with a basic set of features. So it's just a core feature that you're trying to solve the problem. So basically it determines whether or not the product has the potential to succeed. And also MVP is something that you can get into the market, launch it quickly, and test your idea. So for those who are wanting to look at starting something new, like starting something that you want to test in the market, there is different ways of trying to do an MVP or do an MVE is basically like sort of experimenting with small little possible interaction items and get the feedback from the customers. One little example that I can tell you here is that Dropbox. Dropbox, when they started, instead of going on building a feature, they started doing an MVE concept. What is MVE concept that they did is that they actually put together an explainer video about what the Dropbox will do in terms of how they're actually solving the problem of sharing large files. So they put a little bit explainer video and then shared it with target users. And within a month, they had thousands of subscribers wanting to have this product being used. And then they went on building the feature. That is where then they went on to building the product. So either you can start as MVE by doing some little small things, by putting explainer videos or putting some blog or doing some sort of a landing page, getting info, and then you can start going and building a product. So these are the two things that you can start if you are really not sure where you want to do it. So what is actually the characters, or what are the actual things that you want to do in real MVP? What does it actually consist? So basically, you actually aim for the cloud, but you do it in a different small steps. And each step has got a goal, and each MVP, or probably you can probably put that into different MVPs. And your first MVP would have a sort of a certain goal that you want to achieve, or one key problem that you want to solve for your target audience, and make sure that that particular pain point or the problem that you're trying to solve is basically built with a very good user experience, and that way you can launch it quickly rather than just going with number of features and put that into one MVP. Yes, you have a big vision on where you want to have your product to be, but stack it out into different phases or multiple MVPs, and then launch each MVP individually when you get a good customer feedback. So where do you start with? The first thing that, as a software development firm, when we deal with a lot of startup and entrepreneurs, is that we ask them about things that they want to, how do they want to achieve, and what are things, how do they want to get the customers to interact with them. So there are different types of MVP types that you can start building. The main four major things that evolves around this startup world is the Wizard of Oz, or sometimes it's called Flintstone MVP. I probably would kind of give you a real example is that it's like where you're actually building an illusion of a real car, but it's not a car. It means that, for an example, I can tell you that there's a company that was in US, which is called Zappos, which was bought by Amazon for about like $4 billion about like 5 years ago. Initially, what they did is that they had a product, but they had an idea. So they want to sell shoes online. So what they pretty much did is that they went to different shops, took a photo of different shoes, built a simple basic online shop where people can buy the shoes. Once they had the purchase, they then they go to the shop and get the shoe and then ship to the customer. So basically what they're trying to do is that they offered a solution, but a lot of the works were done behind the scenes. So they didn't actually do it, set up everything online. They just did get the customer to purchase it online, but behind the process and operations, everything were done manually. So that's called a Flintstone MVP. So if you're looking at wanting to test something, but you can just basically launch something quickly, but all of the different operation things, you can do it manually. That's probably another type of MVP. The other MVP, which we call it as a concierge MVP, which basically suits for people that are in the fintech or a health tech. How it works is that you directly work with the client or the customer, give them the service, and while you're giving them the service, you find the pain points and what are the problems that you're trying to solve, and then you go on and build the solution. So that's another different type of MVP, where you find, basically deal with the customer, engage with them, do the service as how you're doing the service as normal, but get all the pain point and then go and build an MVP. The other type is called, we call it as a piecemeal MVP, which is pretty much what you do is that instead of you building a custom solution, you use different third-party services, put together as a solution and offer that to the customer. So that way your clients don't know that, so basically you're trying to find a solution that is already available in the market. You take that solution and implement that into your idea, and then you start offering the solution. A very classic example I can give you right now is that someone from our SRI has actually implemented this solution, which is Anna, who has recently started the Pharma Online. Instead of she building her own custom solution, she started using some third-party tools, integrated that into one landing page and offering that solution. So if you want to go and check it out to Pharma Online, it is a very good example on how startups are trying to build MVPs. And the other one that I would like to talk about is the single feature product, which is basically what it does mean is that it is something that you build a custom solution. You basically getting involved a development team and having a one feature that you want to offer to your target users, and build that product, and then launch just that product. The only thing that you have to focus here is that you're only trying to solve the problem. It is not the design. Where you don't have to worry about too much of the design factors and the wow factors, just offering them a solution to solve their problem. You build a product, launch it to your target users, get the feedback, and then you can relaunch again with more actionable and more aesthetic features into it. So there are different types of MVPs which you can start looking at exploring if you're an idea phase and you want to start. But for all means, I would suggest the last two, the piecemeal MVP or the single product feature, is what right now it's more commonly emerging within the startups. Because with the piecemeal MVP, what is that you can actually use different third-party software solutions to put together and offer a one-on solution for your clients or for your target users to test it, and that way you can identify what is the pain points, and you can probably get more feedback from that, and then on you can go and build your own custom solution if you think that this product is marketable. So once you have done your discovery sessions, once you know what is your pain points, where do you actually start? What is the first step do you do to start with? So the first step is that user flow. What we do with our clients that we have dealt with in startup is that we ask them to give us a user flow. What is the experience that your prospective customers that you want them to achieve? So in this example, say for example, I've used a rideshare application. So what is the user flow? So I want my user to create a quick profile. I want them to enter the location. I want them to find a group of the people that are actually around my location, where I can find to join, and then join the group and then rideshare. So what is the process that you're trying to achieve for your startup idea? Whether it is a software app or a mobile app, or even if you're trying to build a service, build the user flow. The user flow. So basically, in addition, the user flow, it is actually an important aspect, as it ensures that you do not miss anything while keeping the future product. Because here, your focus is on the customer rather than the more future. So how you want your client or users to achieve a certain goal, and you build that user flow. It can be either you're offering an online solution or subscription solution, or whether you're offering them something that they have to pay to use a service. Have the flow defined before you have what the features you want, so that you know that, okay, this is what how my users will come into my app and use the process. So once you have decided the user flow, maybe you can use this as a toolkit. It's simple. You can also use a post-it tools, like where you can just stick it on the wall and say that, okay, this is where my user are going to start, and this is what they're going to do next, and this is what they're going to do next, and the next step. So that way you have a clear vision on what is the start and the end process for your customers that you want to deliver. So once you have this process delivered, next thing that you look at is the features list. So what are the features that I'm going to offer to my customers or to my users when they're trying to access my application? Before you start building the features, some of the questions that you need to ask yourself is that, what is the number one functionality that I'm going to give to my users? What is the value that I'm going to offer? And who are they? And how easy I'm going to make that process easy for them. And that way you can decide upon what features you want to put into each of the process. A classic example would be that I want to have a simple login process for my customers to set up an account. I just want them to enter an email address and set up an account, rather than asking a few list of forms and then asking them to set up an account. The main point is that actually, are you trying to build that customer experience to that? So try starting putting the features list. That way it will help you, which are the main features and what you want to do, and what is the number one thing that you want to do your user. So some of the questions that I have listed here is that, what is the number one functionality and value that my product offers to users? Will this feature serve my primary users' needs? Because is it what I'm going to achieve? What are the number one thing that I want users to do? Is it setting up an account? So that's what MVP should be. What is the number one thing they have to do? It's just only setting up an account, or after setting up an account, what do you want them to do? And does my product have a mechanism in place to support customer feedback? This is something that you should always have in an MVP, because it's one of the features that way, once you got your MVP set up or your product developed, you will then need to get some feedback from your customers, and you need to have some sort of an engagement factor to see how your users are using the product. So you need to have some mechanism put in that place, so that way you can get good amount of feedback and analytics from it. So what are you trying to do with that? So once you have got some questions answered, the next thing what you have to do is that list all the features that each individual group of the process that you are trying to achieve. Feature, feature, feature. List in whatever the process that you have in each individual process, what are the features that you want to offer to your users? Then what we are trying to do here is that we're not trying to do what you need for MVP. It's basically what you need for your product. You start with the bigger picture in terms of what I need the features to be. So the best way to define that is that you identified the individual process or the groups, or how you want to bring the journey to your users in using your service or your app. List all the features on that individual process that you want to offer. What I've shown in the screen is that, for example, create a profile. What are the list of features that I want to offer in a creator profile? What are the list of features that I want to offer in enter location? Like whether I'm going to offer them a series of form to enter it, or whether I'm going to collect them their just a suburb, or do I want their complete address, or do I want their neighboring area as well? So what are the features that you want to grab from your users? Once you've got a list of features identified under each group, you prioritize your features list within low priority to high priority. So basically, which are the things that you highly want to have in that particular process or in the group, list them in on the top, and then the ones that are not least most that you want to offer, just put them in the low priority. So that way you know exactly what are you going to offer in that particular process and what features you need to offer in that particular user flow or the user journey. So that way you have a bigger picture now that this is what my user journey is going to be. This is where they're going to start. And these are the things that I'm asking them to do. And out of which the topmost three part that they want to do is that these are the features that I want to collect from them, or these are the things that I want them to do. So list out those features in a very probably like how you probably what I did with my product trying to build is that I had a sort of a bit of a wall and stick each poster notes of how I want to build the user journey and had all the features listed underneath that, and then we had a bigger picture on what our users wants to do. Having a bigger picture will help you to identify what are the features that you want to offer in your MVP to start with. So that way, you know that this features must have for me to launch the product. So that way you have a clear picture, even when you are going and talking to some other developers or some other development team, you have a clear picture on what you want. That way you don't waste time in actually doing the research at that point of time. So do the research and do the work before you going into a developer saying that this is my user flow, these are the list of features that I want to have, but for MVP, these are the main features that I need for my MVP. So once you have got the list of features, then you draw up a line somewhere that's saying that these are the things I need for my MVP. So that way you have a clear picture of what you want for MVP, and that will help for the developers to take that user flow screen and see what are the features they want to build in terms of MVP. And also, it also give you a good, you'll also get a good response from the development team, or whether you're building it, to see whether this feature is really needful or not when you're building it. So that way you know, oh, actually, this feature, I don't think so I need this feature right now. Maybe I might take it out. Maybe I might add it, the feature that I actually thought won't need it right now. So just try and have a bigger picture of the list of features on each process that you're trying to do. Have a bit of a line drawn, or just take the high priorities of the features that you want to have in your MVP. So decision on having the making a feature is always comes with what you want to achieve or what you want to offer to your target users. Some of the customers that we have spoken earlier is that they always find very hard to find what feature they want to build in MVP. So the question that we ask them back is that, what do you want to offer to your target users in the first instance? What is that you want to do? And then that'll make us to decide what features we want to build in an MVP. So that will really help you to find out, okay, these are the list of features. And once you have determined these key features and learned about the market needs, then it'll help you to assemble the features that you want to build for MVP. Again, remember that the prototype does not mean a bad or average quality. Your product main feature or the main goal for MVP is to offer a solution for them to solve their main problem. So what is that one thing, that one specific, out of these features that you have listed, what are the one specific thing that you want to take and build that as an MVP? So one of the quick, easy way that I can see is that I can share the screen to everyone. Is that if you want to start something, is that just prioritize those features. So basically, on a post-it note, write down one task you want users to be able to complete with your product. Put it on a wall or your whiteboard. Repeat the step. Keep on adding all the features or the tasks that you want to do, and then group them. And then once you group them, prioritize them, basically saying that this is the first feature I want in this group. These are the features that I want in the group. So that way you can have a full-on picture on, basically you will have, so that way you can actually build a story for your MVP on what the process will be and what are the features should be. I'm happy to share this through Dimitri.
Madan, sorry, I just thought I'd just really quickly jump in and say, just so that you know, it's 12:30. So,
what? Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So, no, okay, that's all good. If you've got 5 minutes to wrap things up, that would be great. It's been wonderful.
So I just want to quickly go through this one, if I'm not thinking. So some of the tools that I would probably ask people to look at starting and looking at exploring is that if you want to build some user flow for your MVP, use some of the tools called these are these are actually the free tools like Modflow and Mockups, where you can go and build your user flow. Try and explore this thing. And there are other tools that you can use to build your own MVP. Like you can use some of the tools like WordPress, which has got pretty much a lot of third-party applications that you can integrate. Or you can use Webflow if you're building a landing page, which is basically completely free for you to use. Then another thing which I would like all you to explore is that Bubble, which is basically a no-code app. Say, for example, if you want to build a quick app without no code, try and explore this bubble.io. We have started using to build MVP for our clients, where we build a mock-up using this particular tool so that they know how the process works. So if anyone, I'll again share this all to you guys, the list. And if you've got any questions, feel free to email me to this link to Net Constructs. I'm sorry, I thought we have run very quick, short. Oh, wow.
No, that's all right, Madan. I think this has been honestly amazing. And yeah, I think that those tools that you've suggested will be so helpful. So do you want to just run through this last page and we'll wrap things up?
Yeah. The other thing, the other thing which I want to talk about is that how you measure the success of your MVP is that depending upon the user engagement, how many downloads have you got, and what is the percentage of active users have you got for your with the launch, and whether it is a paying customers, how people have started using this users, and basically customer lifetime, but also build a customer engagement process once you have an MVP. So that way you can test your customers' feedback through that. For example, if once you've launched your product, try and communicate with them quite regularly on seeing how they find value with each product. That's a good way of measuring the success and getting, not just launching the MVP and just living it out and sitting out and see what people are using it, rather than being very proactive in asking your target users to see what value do they find by using the product, or what things that they can change, and how they, and keep on engaging with your users. That will give you more feedback when you want to actually have a marketable product. So the basic thing is that build, measure, learn, again, go on a sprint, keep on trying and working on different sections. My quick piece of advice, I know we're running out of time, is that work on a staggered approach. Just work on one product feature and just go with the launch, and think about what is that feature and what are the tools available that you can launch. And if you need any support, or need any startup if you need any sort of support in starting point, email me at the email address that you have seen in this presentation, or you can contact me via Dimity. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Madan. Thank you. And what I might do is now I will wrap up the recording. So thank you so much to everyone. I'll wrap this up before we go to questions, but to anybody who is listening or watching this online, please feel free to contact Madan. He is available through the SRI. Madan, would you mind just popping your email address in the chat box?
Sure.
And then that way I can announce that so people can get in touch with you. So it's just mail@netconstructs.com.au. So thank you so much. I'll just pause on the recording. Thank you everyone to those who are watching on online right now, and I will stop the recording now. Thanks.